President Trump is heading to Fort Wayne, Indiana today to campaign for Republican Senate candidate Mike Braun. It is the president's second trip to the Hoosier state in just 4 days. He spoke in Indianapolis last Friday along with Vice President Mike Pence, who used to be Indiana's governor, and former Indiana basketball coach Bobby Knight. Former President Barack Obama was also in Indiana yesterday, stumping for Braun's opponent, Democratic Senator Joe Donnelly. Joining me now from Fort Wayne, Indiana, is Andy Downs. He is the director of the Mike Downs Center for Indiana Politics at Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. Welcome. So great to have you with us, Andy. When CBS News polled this Senate race 2 weeks ago, 8% of likely voters were still undecided. So are the candidates making their final cases to voters at this point?
Oh, they definitely are, and they've been making a push for some time. This is, as you know, a very expensive race now. The issue was, how do they get those undecided voters to divvy up? We did some polling as well, and we found the economy, immigration, and taxing and spending were the most important issues to the undecided voters. But perhaps equally as important, we have a Libertarian candidate, Lucy Brenton, who was polling about 8% according to our poll, and the important issues for her supporters were health care, the economy, and taxing and spending. So really, those are ways that both candidates, both Donnelly and Braun, might be able to pull in either undecided voters or voters who defect from the Libertarian candidate and go with their second favorite choice.
Interesting. Now, Andy, there are reports that the Indiana Democratic Party is trying to split the Republican vote by using Facebook ads to boost that very candidate in the Senate race. They also imply that Braun backed Hillary Clinton in 2016. President Trump caught wind of the story and compared Donnelly to Russia, accusing him of trying to steal the election. Andy, what's going on here? And is the Republican candidate vulnerable to losing some voters to the Libertarian candidate?
This is a very, very tight race, and so really just about every little move is going to make some difference. Whether it's enough remains to be seen. But the Libertarian was polling better than she did 2 years ago. 2 years ago, she got about 5% of the vote. This year, she's polling a little bit higher than that. And I think what the Indiana Democratic Party, and for that matter, Donnelly, want to do is make sure that the fiscal conservatives who are with her stay with her, and that maybe even some of the people who are supporting Mike Braun decide to go to her because they believe she's the real fiscal conservative in the race.
Yeah, that is a very interesting point. Now, ultimately, what do you see being the deciding factor in this race?
It sounds trite, but really turnout is what's going to matter here. When it's this close, you know, a couple of hundred votes in this precinct or that precinct, or excuse me, in this county or that county really can end up making the difference. Tonight, for example, you have what will be thousands of people showing up at one place to see the president. If they turn that into a mobilization effort, that's great. That could be the sort of thing that helps out. But at the same time, Democrats in this area have said they're going to be out knocking on doors, doing what they think are the things you're supposed to do in the waning hours of a campaign. So really, this is all about making sure your supporters show up and the other supporters you hope don't show up.
And Andy, are you seeing voters on both sides of the aisle super fired up right now?
Yeah, we have early voting here has been higher, like it is in a lot of places, much higher than we saw in 2014. We expect that turnout in general will be much higher as well. We can't quite predict that based on early voting, but early voting is way up compared to 2014.
All right, an exciting race there in Indiana. Andy Downs, thank you for your insight.
Yeah. Thank you.